At the hotel entrance, Johnny Depp, facing the doubts of those around him, fixed his eyes firmly on the bald little girl, Sonia, who was clinging to his leg. As a well-known actor, he should have been focused on his busy acting career. However, this momentary decision, like the flapping of a butterfly's wings, triggered a storm that would change the fates of many. Hey everyone, welcome to Worldly Whispers. Let's get started. Amidst the cacophony of a bustling downtown, Johnny Depp emerged from the grand entrance of a luxury hotel. The air was filled with the characteristic urban sounds, the blaring of car horns in the distance, the animated chatter of passers-by, and the faint rumble of construction work from a few blocks away. Dressed in his signature idiosyncratic style, sunglasses perched on his nose, he made his way towards the sleek black limousine waiting at the curb. His chauffeur, Thomas, a stately man in his 50s, stood at attention beside the vehicle. "Good morning, Mr. Depp," Thomas greeted, opening the rear door with practiced efficiency. "I trust you had a pleasant stay." Johnny returned the greeting with a warm smile. "Morning, Thomas. It was fine, thanks. Looking forward to getting back home, but we still have that photo shoot to attend." Just as Johnny was about to slide into the plush leather interior of the limo, a small, unexpected figure darted past him. A little girl, completely bald, suddenly latched onto his leg. Her body trembled, and her eyes were fixed on some distant point, refusing to meet his gaze. Caught off guard, Johnny gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Hey there," he said softly, attempting to catch her eye. "Are you okay?" Before the girl could respond, an angry shout pierced the air. A red-faced man in his 40s, wearing an apron emblazoned with the logo of a nearby convenience store, approached. "That little brat," the man spat. "She's always loitering around my store, scaring away customers. She brings nothing but bad luck." Johnny, intrigued and concerned, raised an eyebrow. "Has she actually done anything wrong? Like steal something?" he asked, his voice calm yet challenging. The store owner, still in the throes of his rant, continued. "No, she doesn't steal. She just wanders through the aisles, touching everything. It's unsettling. My regulars don't like it, and neither do I. I think she's just waiting for the right moment to steal." Mid-sentence, the man's eyes finally focused on Johnny, and recognition dawned. His anger vanished, replaced by embarrassment. "Oh my God," he stammered, his cheeks flushing. "You're Johnny Depp. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize." Johnny held up a hand. "It's all right, but let me ask again. Has she ever actually disrupted or damaged anything in your store?" The store owner shifted uncomfortably. "Well, no, but she's always there, and it's not right." Johnny nodded slowly. "You know," he said, his voice taking on a gentle, philosophical tone, "I've learned not to judge people for things they haven't done. Maybe there's more to her story than we can see." With that, Johnny turned and got into the limo. As the limo pulled away, Johnny couldn't shake the image of the girl's frightened eyes. He told Thomas, "Drive a bit slower. I want to look for that girl. She's bald, about 9 or 10. I'm worried about her." Thomas agreed, and they began to scan the streets. After a while, Johnny spotted the girl huddled outside another convenience store. He got out of the limo and approached her carefully. She was sitting on the ground with a paper cup for donations. When she saw Johnny, her eyes lit up. Johnny crouched down and gave her some money. She hugged his leg in joy and asked, "Are you Captain Jack Sparrow? Where's your ship?" Johnny couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, love," he said, slipping into his Jack Sparrow voice. "The Black Pearl is safely hidden in a secret cove. But what's a brave little pirate like you doing here all alone?" The girl's smile faded, and she looked around nervously. "Captain Jack Sparrow," she whispered. "Please help me." Just as she was about to explain, a crowd of fans recognized Johnny. They rushed over with phones, eager for pictures. The girl, overwhelmed, shrank back. Johnny, with Thomas's assistance, got back into the limo, but he was determined to come back for her. On the way to the photo shoot, Johnny's phone rang. It was the event organizer. Johnny assured them he was on his way, but his thoughts were still on the girl. Suddenly, he made a decision. "Thomas," he said firmly, "we're going back. There's something I need to do." The limo turned around and retraced its route. When they reached the place where they last saw the girl, she was nowhere to be seen. Johnny checked the convenience store. The teenage cashier, engrossed in a mobile game, hadn't seen her. Johnny searched the surrounding streets, but it was to no avail. Reluctantly, he returned to the limo. Just as the limo was moving again, a soft knock on the window caught Johnny's attention. It was the girl, her face pressed against the glass at a traffic light stop. Without hesitation, Johnny opened the door. Once Sonia was safely in the limousine, Johnny Depp immediately focused on the little girl. The luxurious interior of the car made her small, fragile figure seem even more vulnerable. Johnny was determined to understand her situation. "Sonia," he said gently, "can you tell me what kind of help you need?" Sonia, still in a bit of shock, pointed out the window at an old building with an orphanage sign. Then, she showed her bald head and a concerning mark on her arm, repeating, "Please help, sir." Johnny guessed her possible medical condition from these signs. "Are you sick, Sonia?" he asked. She nodded, eyes filled with tears, and explained that the orphanage couldn't afford her special medicine, so she had been trying to save money on her own. Johnny didn't waste any time. He told his chauffeur, Thomas, "Find a place to park near that orphanage. We need to talk to someone there." As they approached the orphanage, Sonia became more and more nervous. When they reached the entrance, she suddenly collapsed on the stairs. Johnny quickly called emergency services while trying to comfort her. Miss Abigail, the owner of the orphanage, rushed out when she saw what happened on the security cameras. She explained that Sonia had cancer, which made her weak and caused her to fall often. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedic told Johnny that only her guardian could ride with her. Johnny promised Sonia he would meet her at the hospital. At the hospital, Johnny waited outside the examination area. Miss Abigail, who was pacing nearby, was very surprised to realize he was Johnny Depp. Johnny briefly told her how he had met Sonia. Miss Abigail then shared the orphanage's financial problems. Sonia had stage 3 malignant melanoma, and the orphanage didn't have enough money for her treatment. Sonia had overheard the doctors and had been begging on the streets to save money for it. Just then, Johnny's phone rang. It was the organizer of the photo shoot he was supposed to attend. The organizer was angry that he was late. Johnny, after thinking for a moment, firmly said he couldn't make it because of an emergency. He knew there would be consequences, but he believed helping Sonia was more important. Returning to Miss Abigail, Johnny asked about the orphanage. She said it was called Hope's Haven and had been running for over 20 years. It was in the city center, facing high rent and a lack of space. The building was old with no modern facilities, and they struggled to keep it safe for the children. The staff, including herself, often used their own money to keep things running. With the rising costs, it was getting harder to take care of the children, especially with Sonia's serious condition. Johnny listened carefully. He then told Miss Abigail, "I'll cover all of Sonia's treatment costs. You've done so much, and now it's my turn to help." Miss Abigail was in disbelief at his generosity. Johnny assured her he would take care of everything. He was determined to change Sonia's situation and give her a chance at a better life. He also started to think about how he could help the whole orphanage. As they waited for news from the doctor, Johnny's mind was full of plans to make a real difference in the lives of the children at Hope's Haven. He asked Miss Abigail more about the daily operations of the orphanage, the number of children, and the specific difficulties they faced. Miss Abigail, still a bit overwhelmed by Johnny's offer, answered his questions as best she could. Johnny knew that this was just the beginning of his efforts to help Sonia and the other children at the orphanage. After his conversation with Miss Abigail, Johnny Depp was more determined than ever to help Sonia and the Hope's Haven orphanage. As they waited for news from the doctor, Johnny's mind was a whirlwind of ideas. He knew that simply covering Sonia's medical expenses was just the beginning. The orphanage itself needed a complete overhaul to provide a better life for all the children. First, Johnny decided to call his financial advisor. "Listen," he said firmly, "I need you to set up a special fund for a little girl named Sonia. She has cancer, and we need to cover all her medical costs, no matter how high they go. Also, I want to allocate a significant amount for the orphanage she's from. They're in desperate need of renovations and better facilities." His financial advisor, accustomed to Johnny's charitable impulses, quickly agreed and started making the necessary arrangements. Next, Johnny reached out to his publicist. "I have an important project," he explained. "I want to use my platform to raise awareness about Sonia's condition and the struggles of Hope's Haven. We need to organize a major fundraising event. I'm thinking a charity gala, something that will attract big donors and media attention." His publicist was immediately on board, excited about the potential of a high-profile event with a noble cause. While on the phone, the doctor finally emerged from the examination area. Johnny and Miss Abigail rushed over. "Sonia has suffered a minor head injury from the fall," the doctor informed them. "But considering her underlying condition, we want to keep her under observation for a few days. As for her cancer treatment, we need to start as soon as possible. The sooner we begin, the better her chances." Johnny nodded solemnly, his resolve strengthening. "We'll do whatever it takes, doctor. Money is not an issue." As the doctor left to attend to other patients, Johnny turned to Miss Abigail. "Miss Abigail, I know this is a lot to take in, but I'm committed to seeing this through. I've already started the process of setting up a fund for Sonia and the orphanage, and we're going to organize a big fundraising event to ensure the long-term well-being of all the children there." Miss Abigail's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "Mr. Depp, I don't know how to thank you. You've already done so much, and now this. It's a dream come true for all of us at Hope's Haven." Johnny then asked Miss Abigail to tell him more about the children at the orphanage. She described each child with love and care, sharing their personalities, interests, and special needs. Johnny listened intently, his heart going out to these kids who had already faced so much in their young lives. "I want to meet them all when Sonia is better," he said. "Maybe we can plan some fun activities at the orphanage once it's renovated." Miss Abigail smiled through her tears. "They would love that, Mr. Depp. Your presence alone would mean the world to them." Back at his home, Johnny started drafting a social media post about Sonia and Hope's Haven. He knew that his large following could make a significant impact. "Today, I met a brave little girl named Sonia," he wrote. "She's fighting cancer, and the orphanage she calls home, Hope's Haven, is in desperate need of support. I'm committed to helping Sonia get the treatment she deserves and to improving the lives of all the children at the orphanage. Please join me in this journey by sharing this post and considering a donation." He attached a picture of Sonia that he had secretly taken earlier, a picture that captured her innocent and brave spirit. The post went viral within hours. Fans from all over the world started sharing it, and donations began pouring in. Messages of support flooded Johnny's inbox. Some were from individuals who had been touched by Sonia's story, while others were from organizations willing to contribute resources. Johnny was overwhelmed by the response, but also relieved. He knew that with this kind of support, Sonia and the other children at the orphanage were in for a better future. Meanwhile, Johnny's publicist was busy planning the charity gala. She reached out to celebrities, business tycoons, and high-profile individuals, inviting them to the event. "It's not just a fundraiser," she told them. "It's a chance to make a real difference in the lives of these children. Johnny Depp is personally involved, and he's committed to using this event to change the fate of Hope's Haven." Many of those contacted were eager to be part of something so meaningful. In the following days, Johnny visited Sonia in the hospital every day. He brought her small gifts, books, and toys to brighten her spirits. Sonia's face would light up whenever she saw him. "Captain Sparrow," she would say with a big smile, "I knew you'd come back." Johnny would sit by her bedside, reading to her or just talking. He noticed that her spirits were much higher, and she seemed to be coping better with her situation, knowing that she had someone in her corner. One day, while Johnny was at the hospital, his financial advisor called with an update. "The fund for Sonia and the orphanage has already reached a substantial amount," he reported. "But there's more. Some major donors have come forward, expressing interest in long-term sponsorship for the orphanage. They were really moved by your social media post." Johnny was overjoyed. "That's fantastic news. Keep me updated on all the developments." As the days passed, preparations for the charity gala were in full swing. The venue was booked, and the guest list was filling up rapidly. Johnny worked closely with his publicist to ensure that every detail was perfect. He also coordinated with Miss Abigail to make sure that the orphanage's needs were clearly communicated to all the potential donors. On the day of the gala, the venue was transformed into a magical place. Elegant decorations filled the room, and soft music played in the background. Celebrities, business leaders, and philanthropists arrived in their finest attire. Johnny welcomed each guest with a warm smile, grateful for their support. The evening began with a speech from Johnny. He shared Sonia's story in detail, from their first encounter to her current condition. He also talked about the struggles of Hope's Haven and his vision for its future. "We have the power to change these children's lives," he said, his voice filled with passion. "Let's come together and make a difference. Every donation, no matter how small, will bring us one step closer to giving these kids the childhood they deserve." The speech was met with thunderous applause. Then, a video was shown, featuring the children of Hope's Haven. It showed their daily lives, their hopes, and their dreams. Many in the audience were moved to tears. After the video, the donations started pouring in. The amount surpassed everyone's expectations. At the end of the gala, Johnny was exhausted but extremely happy. He knew that this was just the beginning of a long-term commitment to helping Sonia and the other children at Hope's Haven. As he left the venue, he looked forward to the next steps in this journey, confident that with the support of so many, they could truly make a difference. In the weeks following the charity gala, the impact of Johnny Depp's efforts began to take shape. The funds raised not only covered Sonia's immediate medical expenses, but also provided a significant boost to the Hope's Haven orphanage. Construction crews were soon on site, ready to transform the dilapidated building into a modern, comfortable home for the children. Johnny visited the orphanage regularly, checking on the progress of the renovations. He was greeted with excitement and joy by the children, who now knew him as the man who was changing their lives. One day, as he walked through the halls, a young boy named Ben tugged at his sleeve. "Mr. Depp," Ben said with wide-eyed enthusiasm, "are you really going to make our orphanage like a castle?" Johnny laughed and ruffled Ben's hair. "Well, not exactly a castle, but we're going to make it a really great place to live, I promise." Sonia, meanwhile, was making steady progress in her treatment. She had her ups and downs as chemotherapy took a toll on her body, but her spirits remained high, buoyed by Johnny's frequent visits and the support of her friends at the orphanage. During one of his visits, Johnny brought a small, handmade pirate flag for Sonia. "For your very own pirate ship," he said, winking at her. Sonia's face lit up as she took the flag, carefully placing it beside her hospital bed. "Thank you, Captain Sparrow," she said, her voice a bit weak but filled with gratitude. Back at the orphanage, the renovations were coming along splendidly. The old, leaky roof had been replaced, and new windows were installed, letting in an abundance of natural light. The classrooms were being updated with modern teaching equipment, and a new play area was being built in the backyard. Miss Abigail was overjoyed at the transformation. "Mr. Depp, I still can't believe all of this is happening," she said, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. "You've given these children a new lease on life." As the construction continued, Johnny decided to involve the children in the process. He organized a painting day where the kids could help paint the new playroom. They all gathered, wearing old clothes and armed with paintbrushes, ready to add their personal touch. Sonia, who was well enough to leave the hospital for a short visit, was also there. She sat in a wheelchair, but her face was full of excitement as she dipped her brush into the paint and carefully added strokes to the wall. "Look, Captain Sparrow," she called out to Johnny. "I'm making a treasure map." Johnny smiled, watching as the children laughed and chatted, completely immersed in the activity. In addition to the physical renovations, Johnny also worked on improving the educational and recreational programs at the orphanage. He hired a team of tutors to provide extracurricular lessons for the children, focusing on subjects like art, music, and science. He also arranged for a series of field trips to local museums, theaters, and parks. "These kids deserve to experience the world," he told Miss Abigail. "We want to expand their horizons and give them opportunities they might not have had otherwise." One of the most significant changes was the addition of a counseling service for the children. Many of them had experienced trauma in their young lives, and Johnny believed that professional help was essential for their emotional well-being. The counselors worked with the kids individually and in groups, helping them deal with their feelings of loss, abandonment, and fear. Sonia, in particular, benefited from the counseling. She opened up about her worries regarding her illness and her hopes for the future. As Sonia's treatment continued, Johnny made sure to keep her spirits up. He would often bring her favorite books and movies, and they would spend hours together, discussing the stories. One day, Sonia asked Johnny a question that caught him off guard. "Captain Sparrow," she said, her voice soft, "when I get better, can I come and see your real pirate ship?" Johnny looked at her, his heart melting. "Well, love," he said, "my pirate ship is a bit far away right now. But when you're all better, we'll go on an adventure together, I promise. Maybe we'll even find a real-life treasure." The local community also started to take notice of the changes at Hope's Haven. Neighbors began volunteering their time at the orphanage, helping with the daily activities and spending time with the children. Local businesses donated supplies, toys, and food. The once neglected orphanage was now a vibrant, thriving place, filled with laughter and hope. As the months passed, Sonia's health gradually improved. The doctors were pleased with her progress and were optimistic about her recovery. On a sunny day, Sonia was finally discharged from the hospital. The entire orphanage gathered to welcome her home. Johnny was there too, with a big bouquet of flowers. "Welcome back, Sonia," he said, hugging her gently. "Your pirate ship has been waiting for you." Sonia smiled, looking around at her friends and the newly renovated orphanage. "It feels like a dream," she said. With Sonia back at the orphanage, life took on a new rhythm. The children continued to enjoy the improved facilities and programs. Johnny's influence had not only transformed the physical appearance of the orphanage, but also the lives and spirits of the children who lived there. He continued to visit regularly, always coming up with new ideas to make their lives better. One evening, as Johnny sat in his living room, he received a call from Miss Abigail. "Mr. Depp," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "I just wanted to thank you again. The changes here are incredible. The children are so happy, and it's all because of you." Johnny smiled. "Miss Abigail, it's not just me. It's everyone who came together to help. And seeing the kids so happy makes it all worth it." As he hung up the phone, Johnny knew that his journey with Sonia and the Hope's Haven orphanage was far from over, but he was content knowing that he had made a real difference in their lives. With Sonia back at Hope's Haven and the orphanage in a state of remarkable transformation, Johnny Depp felt a profound sense of accomplishment. However, he knew that there was still more work to be done. The bond he had formed with the children, especially Sonia, had become an integral part of his life, and he was committed to ensuring their long-term well-being. One sunny morning, Johnny visited the orphanage again. The children rushed towards him, their faces beaming with excitement. Sonia, her strength returning day by day, was at the forefront. "Captain Sparrow," she exclaimed, running up to give him a hug. Johnny picked her up, twirling her around. "Look at you, Sonia. You're getting stronger every day." As they sat down in the newly renovated common room, Johnny noticed a change in the atmosphere. The once somber space was now filled with colorful paintings, handmade decorations, and the laughter of children. "This place has really come alive," he said, looking around with pride. Miss Abigail, who had joined them, nodded in agreement. "It's all because of you, Mr. Depp. The children have a new lease on life, and they're thriving." Johnny decided to organize a special event for the children. He planned a pirate day at the orphanage, complete with a treasure hunt, pirate-themed games, and a mock pirate ship built in the backyard. The children were overjoyed at the idea. They spent days making their own pirate costumes, eye patches, and swords. Sonia, in particular, was thrilled. She helped design the treasure hunt clues, using her creativity to make the game as exciting as possible. On Pirate Day, the orphanage was transformed into a pirate's den. The mock pirate ship, adorned with flags and ropes, stood in the middle of the backyard. The children, dressed in their elaborate costumes, looked like little pirates ready for adventure. Johnny, wearing his own pirate-inspired outfit, led the treasure hunt. He hid treasures all around the orphanage, from small toys to handmade jewelry. The children ran around, their eyes scanning every corner, filled with excitement and anticipation. As the day went on, Johnny took a moment to reflect on the journey so far. From the first time he met Sonia, a scared and sick little girl, to now, seeing her full of life and joy, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He also thought about the other children at the orphanage, who had all benefited from the renovations and the new programs. "This is what it's all about," he said to himself, "making a difference in these kids' lives." In addition to the fun activities, Johnny also used the opportunity to talk to the children about their dreams and aspirations. He listened intently as they shared their hopes for the future. Some wanted to be artists, others dreamed of becoming doctors or teachers. Johnny encouraged each of them, telling them that with hard work and determination, they could achieve anything they set their minds to. "You're all special," he told them, "and the world is full of possibilities for you." As the sun began to set, the children gathered around Johnny, their faces tired but happy. Sonia, sitting on his lap, looked up at him with adoring eyes. "Captain Sparrow, this was the best day ever," she said. Johnny smiled, hugging her tightly. "I'm glad you had fun, Sonia. And remember, every day can be an adventure if you believe in yourself." After Pirate Day, Johnny continued to support the orphanage in various ways. He set up a scholarship fund for the children, ensuring that they would have the opportunity to pursue higher education when the time came. He also arranged for mentorship programs, where local professionals could guide the children in their chosen fields of interest. One day, Sonia approached Johnny with a serious look on her face. "Captain Sparrow," she said, "when I grow up, I want to help other kids like me. I want to make sure they don't have to be scared and alone." Johnny was touched by her words. "That's a wonderful dream, Sonia, and I know you'll make it come true. You're already so brave and kind." As the months turned into years, Sonia and the other children at Hope's Haven continued to grow and thrive. The orphanage had become a model of what a caring community could achieve. Johnny's influence had not only changed the physical and emotional landscape of the place, but had also inspired others to get involved. Local schools and community centers started partnering with the orphanage, offering additional resources and support. On Sonia's 18th birthday, a huge celebration was held at the orphanage. By this time, she had completely recovered from her cancer and was preparing to start college. Johnny, who had become like a family member to her, was there to celebrate. "Sonia," he said, giving her a big hug, "you've come such a long way. I'm so proud of you." Sonia, now a young woman, looked back on her journey with gratitude. "None of this would have been possible without you, Captain Sparrow. You saved my life and gave me a future." As the celebration continued, Johnny looked around at the happy faces of the children and the staff. He knew that his work with Hope's Haven had been one of the most rewarding experiences of his life. The bonds he had formed with the children, especially Sonia, would last a lifetime. And as he watched Sonia and her friends looking forward to their futures with hope and confidence, he knew that all the efforts had been worth it. The future of Hope's Haven and its children was bright, and Johnny Depp had played a crucial role in making that a reality.
If this story touched you, show your support by liking and subscribing. Your encouragement helps us keep sharing memorable stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.